duvet cover upcycle number 4, I think. Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to my sewing space, and in this video I'm going to try and turn my duvet cover fabric into a couple of ruffle pillows. Started out with a full queen size duvet cover. I've made a dress, a pair of shorts, I've made an ironing board cover, and I still have a lot of scraps left over. Everything from little teeny tiny to pretty good chunks of this duvet cover still. Even though a pillow seems like a pretty basic project, I know it'll use up quite a bit of fabric, and that's my goal. I have these 2 pillows here that have been sitting in my closet for quite a long time now. One I picked up from the thrift store. It is a brand new pillow insert, and the other one is just a pillow that I've had laying around my house. So I'm gonna make 2 ruffle covers for these pillows. Let's get to work. First thing we're gonna do is get the length and the width of the pillow. Mine is square, but this pattern would also work for a rectangular pillow. We're gonna need a front piece, and it's gonna be the width plus 1 inch for seam allowance and the length plus 1 inch for seam allowance, and we need one of these. And here's what my numbers are for my 16-inch pillow. And then we're gonna need 2 back pieces, and for this we need to do a little math. So we need the width of the full pillow divided by 2 plus 6 inches. So for my pillow, 16 inches divided by 2 plus 6 inches is 14 inches. This includes enough extra fabric for the pocket overlap, the seam allowance, and the hem allowance. So that's the width. The length is going to be the length of the pillow plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Here's my numbers. And then we need the ruffle. The ruffle is going to be the front piece circumference times 1.5 plus 1 inch for seam allowance. That's the length. For the width, you're going to have your desired ruffle width times 2 plus 1 inch for seam allowance. So here's my measurements. I did not have 97 consecutive inches of fabric for one ruffle piece, so I cut 2. Then I have my 2 back pieces and my front piece. Right sides together, I'm just stitching my 2 ruffle pieces together, pressing the seam open. Now we have a big long strip that we have to sew together. So right sides together, we're just gonna sew down at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Press that seam open, and now I have a big tube. And I'm gonna fold the wrong sides together, and I'm gonna press this tube in half lengthwise all the way around. So on the raw edge, we are gonna stitch 2 rows of gathering stitches between each seam. Here's a little illustration of what that's kind of gonna look like. Here's a side view, here's a top view. That's just gonna make it easier to gather the ruffle once it's pinned to the pillow. Front piece of the pillow, right side facing up, we're gonna pin raw edges together here. I'm lining up one seam of the ruffle with the corner, and then the other seam in the opposite corner. And then I'm just finding the middle of the ruffle here and pinning it to this corner, and doing the same on the other side, finding the middle of the ruffle and then pinning that into the corner. This way we have nice even ruffles. And then we're just gonna start on one side, and we're gonna gather up all this ruffle until it lines up perfectly with the side of our pillow front and pin it in place. And then we're gonna move over to the next side and gather it up nice and even and pin it in place. And then we're gonna do it for the other 2 sides. So this is where it comes in handy to do 2 different sets of gathering stitches around the ruffle instead of one set all the way around. It just helps you more easily gather everything super evenly. And then once that's all gathered and pinned in place, it's kind of going to look like this. and I'm gonna baste all the way around the outside to help hold it in place. Next, we're gonna fold over 1/2 inch twice on the long side of our back pieces, creating a hem, and we're just gonna stitch that down here. And I had tags made, and I'm just gonna slide one of those in here and stitch it into the seam allowance. You don't have to do this, I just thought it would be fun to put my tag in the pillow. Okay, right sides together and the ruffle facing inward. We're going to pin those back pieces to the front piece. Finished hem towards the center of the pillow. And we're gonna pin one to one side and then the other to the other side. Lay those two pieces on top of each other and then make sure they're nice and even and straight, and then pin those layers together. And then we're gonna sew all the way around at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. It's all stitched together, and now you finish the edges however you want. You can serge them, you can do an overcast stitch. I'm just gonna use a pair of pinking shears because I don't feel like pulling my serger out today. So we're just gonna trim up the ends here with these guys. And then pick out any exposed gathering stitches. Give everything a good press. Slide your pillow into the pocket there. Give it a fluff, and there you go, finished ruffle pillow. Real happy with these, they're super cute. I'm going to keep them in the sewing room. Probably most of the time they'll be on the tan chair in the corner, and you know, when I need a pillow for my back, I'll have a cute one handy now. Even though these two pillows used a lot of fabric, I still have that much in various scraps. So I'll be back again with another Duvet Upcycle project. I'm gonna make a two-toned skirt using this fabric and another piece of fabric in my stash. They're actually curtains. And then depending on how much of this I have left afterwards will depend on what my final project is going to be. For more videos like this, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!